me, not you.
That cooled the jets real quick, didn't it?
We're
Mook, how we doing today?
doing well, Mitch. How about yourself?
I'm better now because we were chatting before this. I'll be honest with you, a little bit. I don't want to say down in the dumps, but in a rut. But then I get to chat with my buddy, and here we are.
There we are. And don't men, isn't it a stereotype that men sort of like a rut, for lack of a better word?
Well, I don't know if it's meant so much, but I think if you want to, it's you say it, so the first thing I thought of was by astrological signs. So by my sign, I guess I've been noticed that noted. Well, actually, no. Well, I was going to say my son, but he's my offspring, so he prefers
Right.
the same thing. So maybe it might be. I don't know.
Hmm. Well, however you feel, however it's how you feel, brother.
But I'm glad to see you're rocking the tank top. I grant it is summertime, but as part of what we're going to talk about is like uh, uh, I'm just because you and I were talking, and I think it's something common that a lot of guys like probably my age or our age, and for sake of argument, I've postulated this at age 63, which I'm not yet, but I know, but
How
if
many days
people check
ago?
this
5
out.
days ago?
If people check out the Mitch Wonders podcast on YouTube, you'll see the episode with Mook here, and Mook's bringing the pythons. He's bringing the shoulders, and so he's just someone I know smart about over the years, committed to working out, and I've been trying to work out and trying to grow, and I keep coming back as like I think the comparison I got was a hairless ostrich. I work or featherless ostrich. That's what it is.
Featherless, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said hairless last time too, and you corrected me again. But yeah, I just don't get any bigger or anything. And so I asked you, I was like, what the heck's up with this? Because you've gotten bigger. And the first thing you brought up was, which amazed me, an acronym I hadn't heard of. Because you brought up TRT.
Yeah. The
And just
testosterone replacement therapy?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I looked it up. I mean, I can't recall which website. I like to give resources, but I can't recall this one. No, it's not true. That's impossible to grow muscle naturally at our age. But it is true that it's slower and harder than like when we were in our 30s.
And unless you have outstanding genetics and rare genetics, I guess I should never use the word impossible. It's
No,
improbable.
thank you. Yeah. Well, but one of the reasons like specifically related to TRT is like naturally testosterone levels decline about 1% a year after
Yeah.
the mid 30s.
And that's why there's a correlation between muscle mass decreasing in that same, almost the exact same rate per decade of life. Unless you are doing some form of resistance training, that's just going to happen. You're going
Is
to
that what
lose
they're
them.
Is that what's being referred to as hypertrophy, as resistance
Yes.
training? Okay.
Hypertrophy is growth. That's all
Yeah,
that
see,
means.
I thought it was like a verb, like I just said, like you said, muscle training, and also an a noun. It's the actual output of it.
Yeah, well, like you've heard the word atrophy. When like you have an injury, you have a cast on your leg and you get that cast removed, the muscle has withered away to nothing. That's atrophy because of no activity for whatever six
Huh.
weeks.
You
And
should
then
talk to Holly.
hypertrophy is
I think Holly's
hy-
got full body atrophy.
well, I don't think he moves much lately. I don't think he's putting in the effort, let's say.
He has admitted, and probably shouldn't say this, but where he lives down in Florida, he has driven to the McDonald's drive-through for breakfast, still in his pajamas.
Yeah. Well, ever ever
That's an
since
indication.
ever since COVID, though, I don't think he rarely leaves. He refers to his house and yard as his compound. I don't think he ever leaves there much.
Oh,
He's
that's
become as much
unfortunate.
of a shut-in as possible for being a married man.
But we should point out as we get back on track. It's my own fault for derailing us, but TRT is only appropriate if your natural testosterone is genuinely low. Because you have me looking into it. That's why you and I'm glad you took the time today to discuss with some of these things. And you're only going to get that, because taking testosterone just to gain muscle is not medically necessary.
No, it's not. But it's how do I want to say this? If you want to have the type of gains that I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you've been seeking all these years,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
until you embrace that fact that that's a road you'll have to go down, I
I
can't
don't
help
know though,
blaming you. I
because we
do
did get
know,
well, I did get tested, and like I said, mine was just below 600, and that the natural
which is
testosterone
outstanding
range,
if that's your age and you did that
yeah,
just recently and it's at 600.
last fall.
That's excellent.
But it's it's like 570, something like that. But
Right.
they say testosterone. A doctor, and it's important that we point out that a good doctor will tell you like the blood work shows this below the 300, and there's a range. It's like RG over DL. I don't know what that
Mhm.
means, but the number range is what's important. So if you're typically below 300,
Yeah,
that
it's
might be.
nanograms per deciliter is
Oh,
that
there you go.
NG slash DL.
Thank you. Well, I'm just laughing because before this we were talking about what you bring to the table. I'm like, damn sure bringing that.
Well,
But some other symptoms like if you're tired all the time or you're depressed or if you had a hard time recovering from a good workout,
mhm,
that might be it. But it also might be related to, and this is where we bring up our other friend, other causes like obesity,
mhm,
stress, you're not sleeping
stress.
enough. I don't know
Mhm,
about you, but I've been battling that sleep apnea thing. Not apnea so much, but just not good quality. And other medications you might be taking. So
right.
make sure you have a doctor analyze you.
Yeah, don't sit here and take anything I'm saying and go out and run and start doing something. But
No, I will say though, you and I talked about it, and I did go about 2 months ago back to creatine. Um, so do you recommend like creatine as a form of a way of supporting
oh,
muscle tone?
100%, 100%.
Yeah, I
It's
will give you. I mean, because and then when we talked, I did the deep dive on it, and there's a lot of more factors for the reasons for taking creatine, like brain
mhm.
function.
Yep, brain function, just so many just general health benefits they're starting to find with more research. Because when it first came out, it was exclusively marketed to resistance training and strength training benefits. But now they're finding all kinds of benefits to it. So, and you just mentioned that I think one of the biggest ones is brain function.
Yeah, yeah, that might be, which is deadly for me because I've been always perceived as and gladly walk the line of the happy idiot. So I don't know if I want to increase but there might be other reasons like to why I might not be or someone like me might not be gaining muscle right now because yeah, it's age related. So
Well, it's
you're gonna
also
have
genetics. Some people just have genetics where they respond to training better. They just do. And it's just is what it is. And sometimes if that's your genetics, you can't change that unless you're willing to take certain steps. And I'm just going to be as brutally honest as I can be without trying to recommend something bad or illegal or anything. But there's a short and sweet saying, big, shredded, and natural. You can only be two. Pick two.
yeah, yeah, that's because you and I were talking about, the fact that because of that creatine, I've had a marked weight gain and
Yes.
like an idiot, like I don't want that weight gain. Well,
Right.
what do you want?
But I assume you're
So
getting stronger too.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
seeing
it's
some
it's
strength benefits. Yeah.
everything, every workout. I mean, but now it's getting to the point. I don't know if you've been through this before, but like for example, the other day I was doing like an incline press with I've never done 175 pounds, and I'm thinking, damn it, I always have been doing this, but I hit it pretty easy. I was doing
Yeah.
eight by eights, so
If
I
you did
did
it
eight
that
sets.
easy, you could have always been doing it then.
So
Yes.
I've got to
Yes.
get past. I've got to get past that plateau.
Well,
That might be
I,
the whole
ass-
problem.
I assume when you're doing these, you typically have a spotter with you.
No, never.
Well, then you can't be trying an uncertain weight if you don't have somebody to help just in case it goes bad.
I've done that. I did that like earlier in the year. I'll call somebody over, like this guy named
Yeah.
Kalen
Can you
came over, big
give
dude.
me a quick spot?
Yeah, I was doing
Anybody will do it.
decline too. Hey, let me ask you this: is it appropriate, like, to ask a spot from a hot chick?
I think it is, but a lot of them will instantly take it as a come on for even wrong or right.
It
They
probably
will
would be.
instantly take it as a come on.
Okay, back to the subject at hand. Now, what
Yeah.
about what? So we got age related. We got hormone levels we talked about with TRT. What about diet? Gaining muscle, it requires a calorie
Well,
surplus,
of
right?
course it does. Yes. And that's sort of the balance you sort of have to hover over if I want to be bigger or shredded, because I got to be in a deficit or I've got to be in a surplus. There's no science beyond that. If I want to
That's what
gain, I
bothers
got
me.
to be in a calorie surplus. If I want to lose, I've got to. be in a calorie deficit. There's a little
And
bit of
it's, I mean, because
no, go
everything
ahead.
we talk about, because, like we talk, because you probably should be looking, one or, a little over a gram of protein per pound of body weight for older adults.
Well, yeah, because my the now or the information I had for most of the last few decades trying to gain muscle, which was always my goal, is 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight to gain. So if I was weighing 200, I had to take in 300 grams of protein
That's
with
a lot.
along with my heavy training, every
Yeah.
day.
And this data that I found says 1 to 1.2. So you're in that range.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't gain much size. And
Well,
I
again, that's also another broad way to look at it with the just, and I want to get this right because I always screw it up. Your calories will show your weight. Your macros will dictate how you look. Your micros will dictate how you feel as far as your health and energy. It's
okay,
that kind of
explain
simple.
then. What are macros and micros in that reference?
Macros are your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. The three major things.
Okay.
And micros are your nutrients, like your vitamins, your minerals, and all that good stuff. But yeah, in general, just the amount of calories you eat will dictate your weight. The way you distribute your macros will dictate how you look. And then the micros will dictate how you feel.
So it seems like you want that happy balance. Like as you're saying that, I'm thinking I'd probably focus more on micros because I think feeling better
Well,
is probably more.
ideally, as you're getting stronger and if you're eating somewhat healthy, you're going to feel better. If you're
Yeah.
eating pretty good foods, because like I said, that's why I say the calories. There's some schools of thought that it doesn't if you're just looking to gain size and weight and you don't care what it looks like, it doesn't matter what if you eat 3,000 calories a day of donuts or 3,000 calories a day of steak and
Ooh.
potatoes. It's still just a calorie. But that's when you get in why macros matter to how you actually look, because you're not going to eat 1,000 or 3,000 calories of donuts and you're not going to look shredded and like an Adonis.
Yeah, that's gonna be
but
that's
but
like the
but you're
the,
going
the
to
quote
gain weight
unquote
and probably
the
gain
beer
some
gut.
strength. Yeah,
Same thing. Beer is just calories, so we'll call it
yeah.
what you will. But
Empty
but
calories.
but there are other ways to gain mass, and I don't know if like you've probably heard of these SARMs.
Yeah. Selective androgen receptor modulators.
How in the hell do you keep remembering all this stuff? But yeah, you're right. But these
Yeah.
are like compounds that selectively stimulate the receptors in muscle and bone tissue, and supposedly without harsh side effects like steroids. But the reality check is they're not FDA approved for human
No,
use.
no. And that's where you get into the whole big pharma because there's an amazing peptide
Now, see, that's
called
the third one.
BPC 157. I don't know if you've heard of it or not.
No, all I heard is CIC 12 or CJC 1295.
BPC 157 is a miraculous healer of soft tissue. Borderline miraculous, according to the anecdotal evidence of people that use it. BPC actually
Oh
stands
yeah,
for Body
well, I have
Protective
heard of it
Complex.
because the one I mentioned was a growth hormone peptide, and what you're mentioning is tissue healing.
Yes, it's like I said, BPC stands for Body Protective Compound.
Yeah, I've
And
heard of that.
people that are using it, and actually a good buddy of mine I just visited for a while yesterday, he's been using it. He had a really bad shoulder where he was having trouble even dumbbell pressing 20-pound dumbbells. He couldn't hardly raise his shoulder to work. And he's been on it for a couple of months and it's almost like it's completely healed. He's doing shoulder presses with 90-pound dumbbells. He can move his range of motion is all back.
Really?
I got to move you to the other room for a second. I've
Because
got
I
to
because I've been my right shoulder is like every other month kind of destroyed, and I
right.
have to just like walk away from the bench press for a
Hmm.
while. But this, like you say, it's not useful for muscle size. But if you're limited by injury, then it can be the correlation of muscle size.
Right, because you're not able to train as hard and so therefore you're not going to get the same results until
Yeah,
you heal
and
that injury.
because the bottom line on SARMs that we touched on real quickly about is you strong. We're going to say, I mean, I'm just going to say from our podcast point of view, I would strongly advise against them unless you're under strict medical supervision. So keep that in mind because even
Right.
then,
Yes.
they're risky. They're risky for older lifters. So don't take that as
Yeah, don't
uh,
take any of my bullshit like medical advice, please.
but the bottom line on peptides is it's a little more promising because some peptides, like the growth hormone we talked
Yes.
about, might be worth discussing. But again, talk with a well-informed doctor if you want to enhance recovery, maintain quote unquote youthfulness, and slightly improve muscle growth. But they're still experimental and they're not 100% risk-free. They're much safer than SARMs, but we're not saying they're safe. So again, under discussing with a progressive, well-informed doctor.
You know the strange sort of logic you can use to know if something is effective and safe if the FDA tries to ban it. Because as soon as I cannot tell you how many products or substances throughout the years actually start to have some data to back up, well, this is really helping people. But they don't control it. Big Pharma doesn't control it, so we got to get rid of that. We got to make that illegal.
I'm
And
surprised that some of them like because you see you've heard the jokes before the comedians like the side effects of all these drugs and they're like after they show you the happy videos of people living their best life
yeah,
because they're taking and they're like well you could die or you might your throat might constrict and have trouble breathing like fuck what
yeah. Then why am I taking this?
well I think it's more and correct me if I'm wrong but this seems like a slap in the face of all the body positive movement that we've heard over the last few years is the
Hmm.
popularity of Ozempic.
Yes. It's like it's such a contradiction. They're like, be okay in your skin and
Yeah,
celebrate your
yeah,
size and all that shit. It's like, no, being obese is unhealthy. But then again, the weight loss with the Ozempic is not a good thing.
yeah. We've got a shortcut for you if you want it.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of help in that in trying to achieve your goals, but you got to look at what it's really doing. Because ideally, when you lose weight, you want the majority of the weight you're losing to be body fat. But what they're finding over and over with the Ozempic weight loss, a majority of your weight loss is muscle weight. And that's the worst thing you want. You don't want to lose your muscle because that's the life-giving inside of you, the active
Yeah,
tissue.
and we
And
we
then
can
what
go through.
happens is it slows your metabolism way the fuck down. And then the minute you get off the Ozempic, because your metabolism is so slow from losing all this muscle, you just gain this weight right back up.
It can't be. I mean, it's God bless people that they have a hard time with losing weight, and it takes commitment. I mean, I was joking with a friend of mine, Aaron Hale. If you're listening, I still remember when you and I were talking about this in 2016. We both agreed that the only way to lose weight is to starve yourself to the weight you want to be at, and then work to stay there.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
too real world. It's like what worked for him and what worked for me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say starve yourself, but limit your calories.
Yes. Be in a calorie deficit. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
But to sum it up, everything we've been talking about is training for hypertrophy the key?
To key to what?
Muscle growth.
Yeah. Well, that's hypertrophy is muscle growth.
See, again, that's like a
That's
verb and a noun, right?
no, I believe hypertrophy is just a noun.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. But I
Yeah.
mean, like for I guess what the point of view we're taking is from my original question is why am I not getting bigger? So I think that would be uh use it muscle weight training, muscle growth focus training improves
Yeah.
appearance and function. So your muscle mass makes you look athletic and strong, and you improve your joint integrity, which we haven't touched on.
And the most important thing, and I've lived this in the last 5 years, God knows I've lived it. Your muscle mass, the amount of muscle mass you have, studies have proven this, increases your survivability of
Yeah,
anything, any illness by like leaps and bounds. I actually had a doctor after my colon cancer surgery went bad and I went into septic shutdown and was in ICU for 9 days. I had a doctor come in my room and tell me flat out, he said, I got to be honest with you. If you weren't in the condition you were in coming in here, you wouldn't be here right now.
And that's
So
that's that's a real world, why the
yes,
hell
that
aren't you?
I
Because
don't
we,
know.
we we've talked about, there's been a definite a change in the, the new normal, I guess. And it's not just like how long can you live, it's how long can you live a good life. And
Yes,
and working out is part of that.
yes, and
But
there's no way around it.
and there's a, for me, the reality is that for everybody after age 50, age-related muscle loss accelerates. So without training, you're going to lose 1 to 2% muscle mass every year after 50. So
And
if
you
you're
can
okay
also
with that,
stave that off if you're willing to go certain routes, so which I won't speak on, but it's the sad truth, or it's just the truth. Certain
but
gains you may be seeking, certain physique goals you may be seeking, they're just not going to happen if you're not willing to do certain things. And it's okay if you're not. It's perfectly okay, but don't sit and say, why isn't this happening for me if you're not willing to do that?
and for me, I'm looking at, and again, if anybody's in a similar state of, even like I mentioned before, our demographic for the podcast, and I'm very grateful for this, is a lot younger than us. And yet 60% are a lot younger than us. So if you want to stave off this concern and start now, for me, like I think the rep range would be like, for me, I've been doing 8x8s for a couple months now. And then I'll throw in a couple, 3x10s afterwards. So, and like I'm taking your advice, I'm not in the gym for more like an hour or 75 minutes. But the rep range are like should be six to 15%, not just 5x5, even though I love 5x5. Um, Moderate volume, progressive overload. So still try to lift heavier so you do more or do more
Hmm.
reps over time. And put a variety in it. You can call it push and pull, or you can just do upper and lower. So keep that variety. Control your pace. Emphasize like slower, controlled lifting, and maybe when you're lowering what they think they call the eccentric phase, eccentric
Yeah,
loading,
eccentric.
and then joint health priority. Because again, I'm bringing this up because I think it's important because a lot of single leg work. I see people doing the single leg. I'm like, why? But they, a lot of cable work, machine work to to reduce that joint stress. Let's face
Right.
it, we're not young, and that can help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one concession I've made, and I don't make many, probably to my fault. I don't make many concessions to my age, because when I go in there, I still have the mindset and feel like I'm still training just as intensely as I did when I was 20 years old. And maybe that's why every joint in my body hurts half the time, but I just refuse to make certain concessions to this. I'm just not going to do it.
No, I agree. I agree. And it's like, we see the Instagram thing, like you see the guy grab a 5 pound dumbbell or five dumbbell 5 pounds every year, and you're like, oh yeah? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
what we're doing
My
today?
ego's
Okay.
not having it. Yeah, we're doing that.
But we also
But
need to we did make sure we point out the fact that we talked about the diet, and it's like I think at this point, I think diet, again, you can correct my math if you're, I think it's 50% of the problem
oh,
or
more
the
than
of the equation of if you're
yeah.
putting it all together.
A lot of people will tell you that physiques are built in the kitchen, not in the gym, and that's valid.
And you
I
make, great points about macros and micros. And it's just, of course, we talked about protein. That seems common. Calories, a slight calorie surplus, 2 to 300 over maintenance is
right.
probably what you should be looking at. Nutrient density, lots of, I hate to say it because it's boring, but lots of veggies, lots of fruits. Uh, I'll say it, lean meats, eggs, Greek yogurt, I've
Oh,
learned to like a lot.
lean meats and eggs are kings in
And
this.
and I'm telling you, if it being a Costco member, when you go there and you get that deal and you live alone on like the 24 pack of Greek yogurt, it's going to be part of your diet.
Hmm.
I'm not letting it go bad.
As a Greek yogurt in my breakfast pretty much every morning of my life.
See, now I'm going to go to Costco today and get another one because I bought the first one. I had a hard time getting it done. But
Especially the Oikos high protein one that's 20 grams in each little Oikos and no sugar
yeah,
added.
exactly. And it's like, and it's good. I'll give Costco a shout out. I'm saving like $6 every time I go in there. But we're talking supplements, creatine,
Right.
omega 3s,
Hmm.
vitamin D3, which is critical for testosterone and testosterone and muscle
Yeah.
health if you're deficient,
Hmm.
and whey protein. I don't want to say anything more than that, but those are pretty basic, right?
Right. Yes, that's pretty much the standard that you're talking
Yeah.
right there.
And you can, I've added, God dang it, and recently, because of a doctor's advice, I've added Benefiber. Uh,
Yeah, Metamucil, that type of stuff.
yeah. Well, Metamucil is so damn expensive, but Benefiber is like half the price.
Well, and aren't they slightly different fiber sources? Isn't
They are
one?
definitely different. I think that's what worried me about it because I think Metamucil charges so much because that's also been proven to reduce cholesterol.
Well, the only reason I know they're different in their fiber sources is because for a certain medical test I had to have about a year ago, he told me to drink the Benefiber, and he specifically said, "Do not drink the Metamucil. They're not the same. I want you using the other one."
Wonder why.
I I can't remember for my life of me why he made that distinction, but he
Yeah,
he he,
like
he
if
just said they're different, and he wanted me to use the other one.
well, I know because I told you, but I've
Oh,
recently been to the doctor, and
yeah. Well,
he's the one that told me to get fiber, and I never want that to happen again. So I'm going to get fiber.
I'm about
Um,
to go for my third probably biopsy in the next couple of weeks because they're 90% certain there's cancer in there and they just can't find it the first two times. So we're trying to figure
that's
that out.
and God bless you. Good luck to you on that. But one of the things he asked me was, and we have never done this episode before. I don't know if I told you. I'm probably going to talk about another episode, but he's like, "When's the last time you had a colonoscopy?" I was like, because I remember it was in my apartment. So I've been here this, so 2018. And he's like, "How did it go?" And like, I'll tell you how it go because I was awake and watching it. And I know, but I went,
You
I
were
took,
awake during a colonoscopy? That can't be.
it can be. Check this out. There's, of course, there's the new prep. So the prep for it's not as bad as it used to be,
No.
but they, my appointment for the colonoscopy was like at 11 a.m. So I'm like, I'm be a good soldier. I'm just gonna have nothing but water, and then I'll go in there. And they're like, "Tell us what you did this morning." It's like nothing but water. They're like, "Well, then you can't have your test because you can't be anesthetized and have had water." They didn't tell me that. So this is
It,
I'm telling
why?
everybody.
Because they're afraid you'll aspirate or something?
Well, ask our friend Nettie. She'll tell you because she knows. And she's like, "Oh yeah," but so he's like, "We can do two things. You can reschedule." And I was like, "Man, I just took 2 days off work. I can't reschedule." He's like, "Then you can go raw dog." He literally said that. So I was like, "Let's go." So I did it, and they put me on my side. A nurse was holding my hand, like a middle-aged
Hmm.
nurse, like younger than us, but she was crying. I was watching it, and I was watching.
That's
There was a
fantastic.
doctor, and a male nurse. I'm pointing it out because why not? He was, but I'm watching it on the monitor. My colon looked pretty good, but at one point, you know how your colon, like you look at the diagram of a human body, it's kind of square, it like winds around. The
Yeah.
camera got stuck on one of the corners, and the male nurse reached over to tap my gut so it would move, and he hit my tweeter too. I was
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
that's a little embarrassing, but
Yeah. Can you at
but
least buy me dinner first?
no, maybe a kiss, but
Yeah.
because I saw the whole thing. It's not horrible, it's not great, but I came back into the waiting room and they gave me a round of applause. They're like, yeah, he
Yeah.
did it.
Well, I can't
But
speak to the colonoscopy, but I've now undergone two prostate biopsies where they cut shit
oh,
out of my full on awake
ooh, it's not
because
comfortable. It's only
no,
comfortable when you walk out.
that's the only thing I can just, the first one, it, I won't use the term like painful, but it was extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the second one, even after having experienced the first one, again was extremely uncomfortable. But this one, I found myself with every cut he made, I was just like, oh, Jesus, when is the last one? Please let this be the last one. And now that I know
Well,
they're going to have to do a third one, and I'm going to be given the same option for anesthetic or not. And the only reason I choose not to, I'm not trying to be some hero. It's just that if they anesthetize me, they're going to make me go to see my primary care. They're going to make me see a cardiologist for all these tests before they'll do the anesthesia. And I don't want to jump through a million hoops. So just fucking go in there and do it.
a million hoops
Just
and $1 million.
raw dog me again. Because the
Well,
one doctor, I said, can I just do it without? He goes, this one's going to be pretty hard on you. I don't know if you want to do that. I go, listen, I just don't want to jump through a million medical hoops with unnecessary tests. Just please get it done and figure out what I'm doing. Figure out if I've got cancer or not and I'm dying.
see, this is real talk, right? I mean, but this is part of what I wanted to talk about today. But to get to our summary of what we were talking about, I would say, for my age or for anybody who's like similar, and my goals of getting bigger and, let's be honest, better looking and in better shape,
Well, that's
it's
impossible.
it's
Let's
it's
face
gonna
it.
it's gonna be hypertrophy training, high protein
Hypertrophy.
diet. That's all it is to it. Hypertrophy training plus the high protein diet. That's the
Yep.
golden formula for staying healthy, getting more muscular, and functioning and for everyday life. It's the
100%.
it's the look good, feel good, move well program without wrecking your health. So it should be fairly
Hmm.
simple.
Yeah,
And I can't
it
wait to get
should
back
be. It
today.
just takes discipline, obviously. That's the word I like to use. People like to say, I wish I was as motivated as you. I'm like, it's not motivation anymore, it's discipline. Because I'm
Yeah,
telling you, a good 50% of my days, I'm not motivated to go to the gym. I'm just
yeah.
not. But I go because I'm disciplined and I got to get it done.
And and we'll tell, give everybody a tip who's having the same problem. Once I get there, I get the motivation back.
100%. Once you get that blood pumping, then I'm in.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. I walk in and like when sometimes it's like when Rocky, I pictured in the original movies, walks into the gym and you can smell the stink of the sweat and you hear the iron. It's like, that's where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
People
look,
just don't
Mook,
get it, but
I appreciate you taking the time today, man. I think this is a great discussion. Hope people, pick up some stuff from this and something they can use. And I'm sure what they're wondering is like, hey, thanks, Mook and Mitch. What can I do for you? Well, here's what I would hope. Maybe if you want to support the show right now, we got Venmo at Mitch Wonders. Drop a jelly bean in the old jelly bean jar. Go to YouTube and like and subscribe there. Sure would appreciate it. And if you want, just go to mitchwonders.com and you can see not only pictures of recent celebrity encounters I've had, uh, some are like celebrities, like the local here in Austin. The she's known for the two-step dance, and it's a good picture. But hey, if you want to catch up on all episodes and maybe help out and see some pictures of the old, uh, every episode, I put a picture of who was on, and there's always going to be a link to a YouTube video in there. So check it out. You know what they
yes,
say: like,
most definitely.
subscribe, and support.
Yes, 100%. All three of those.
All right, bud. Well, thanks again for taking the time. Best of luck
Anytime,
to you
Mitch.
in the upcoming, and I'm on my way to the gym.
Nice. What's going on today? What you got
Upper,
going in there?
and
Yeah,
I can explain
nice.
why. We'll
All
talk
right, we'll talk.
later, man.
Peace.